Well, guys, if you're watching this and you're MAGA, if you voted for Trump, you don't even have to be a hardcore Trump supporter, but you voted for him, you should probably know that over 60% of women in America voted for Harris. And they didn't just vote for Harris, but they voted for her on the condition that if you did not vote for Harris, they want nothing to do with you. Primarily younger women. You know, the demographic of women that are the most depicted by particularly grody old men as the most sexually desirable. Women who are like 18 to 25, Gen Z. So, these women are taking up a movement. It's actually one that's existed for a long time, but for men. The VOLCEL movement. If you don't know, there are Incels, who are men that are involuntarily celibate. That is to say that they are celibate of no, desire of their own. They just can't get laid. While there are also VOLCELs. Voluntary celibates. Or just celibates, but, you know. VOLCELs are incels that are so black-pilled by dating that even though they can totally date and get laid, they're so black-pilled because they become misogynistic and they've grown to hate women that they choose not to date or have sex with women because they are so disgusted by them. It is a newer brand of the incel identity where, like, men who are very sexually active and successful become disgusted by women constantly being open to having sex with them, and they start to gain the view that women are property or they're whores simply because so many of them are willing to date them or have sex with them even when they treat those women like garbage. And so it radicalizes them into hating women in the sense that, like, they see women unwilling to stand up for themselves against guys like them, and it solidifies their beliefs about, like, where women's places are. And so the VOLCEL movement has been a thing for a while, but now women are flipping that script, and the 4B movement is starting. Basically, women going VOLCEL, saying, you know what, men, particularly Trump-supporting men, you showed us your true colors, you showed us what we are to you, how much our rights matter to you, and since we know you consider us nothing but sex and baby machines, and in some cases your surrogate mothers, because a lot of these Trump supporter guys just want a wife to mom them, right? We're just not going to date you, we're not going to have sex with you, and we're not going to get into any relationships with you. And this movement actually started, the 4B movement started in South Korea, where it's actually blown up massively because apparently South Korean men are like giga incels, like super giga incels right now. Like the problem with like men turning their incel, like can't get laid hate and their like disrespect of women that are they see as too easy into hate for women, like that has become such a big problem in South Korea that Korean women there were the ones who started this like VOLCEL, we're not giving these men the time of day to protest them movement. Like if they're so upset about not being able to get laid, we'll show them what it feels like for women to actually do what the incels claim they do, which is just being like, fuck this, we're gonna make sure you're lonely and can't get a girlfriend. And I gotta say, fucking giga-based. If the right and men in this country want to say, your body, our choice, then women can reply, our pussy's our choice. You trying to get some, you're not gonna. Not if you voted for Trump. You better have voted for Kamala Harris. If you want to get laid. Simple as that. So yeah, I've got a video here called Why Are Women in the US Talking About the 4B Movement? Let's check out the video. It's very short. It should consolidate all the points pretty well.
4B movement.
The 4B movement.
The 4B movement.
So what is it? Actually, a fringe feminist campaign from South Korea. The 4Bs, Korean for four no's, no marrying men, no giving birth, no dating men, and no sex with men.
There's so much pressure in South Korea for women to have kids, and women felt extremely undervalued. So they have sort of banded together to not kind of give into these societal pressures.
South Korea has the world's lowest fertility rate. Now, Google searches for 4B surging to record levels in the US as one of its top trending searches in the last 48 hours.
This really does need to take off and maintain itself. It needs to be a established standard in perpetuity that if you're a conservative guy, you've got to hide it when you're dating. There should be no significant amount of women in this country willing to date a guy who does not confirm that he is registered Democrat. I am so glad this is happening. You can say, oh, but it's so hateful. Oh, it's sexist. Oh, it's cringe. Oh, VOLCELs and the Incel movement have done this for years now, okay? The men going their own way movement, MGTOW, remember that? There is nothing new about this except the actual oppressed group in our society is the one taking up this idea of disenfranchising themselves from the world of dating, sex, hookup culture, and marriage and relationships in order to protect themselves from what they perceive as a threat, which is rewarding or enabling men for refusing to stand up for their rights. Women are saying, if you will not stand up for your rights, you do not get to fuck us. Simple as that. Bare minimum, if you want to fuck us, you got to be able to stand up for our rights. I think that's a pretty low fucking bar, but I think it needs to be set. I'm fine with this. I think this movement's pog. I hope all the women in my chat are doing this. You better be checking voter registrations before you let any guys be fucking you, okay? You better check their voter registration. You make them show you their Democrat voter reg, okay?
Trump's Supreme Court picks helped overturn Roe v. Wade, unleashing a wave of protests nationwide. His position on abortion access has varied, but during the final stages of his campaign, saying states should decide.
Whether the women like it or not, I'm going to protect them.
4B movement.
The 4B movement.
Whether the women like it or not, I've got to protect them. I've got to protect them whether they like it or not. Listen. The VOLCEL thing has been around for a while. If this is really nothing new. I know that there's going to be a lot of conversation about this, and everyone's going to be like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? But here's a random podcast clip. Let's see if this explains it well.
And incels are like the Crips and the Bloods of the
They
sad
just hate
world.
each other.
That was a great opening, honestly. And frankly, to a degree, especially on Reddit, yeah. Yeah, the incels and the VOLCELs are absolutely like the Crips and the Bloods. In the sense that, like, the VOLCELs are like the Bloods, and that they exist purely to spite incels. You know what I mean? Like, VOLCELs exist as the kind of thing that just genuinely pisses off incels, because incels want to get laid and can't, and VOLCELs can get laid and don't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, rep your set. Like, never seen a pussy, never want to see a pussy. All right, rep your set.
Why, like, how this channel has like 4,000 subs? Why do they have a whole ass podcast studio? You see what I mean when I say there's like a million like random like douchey dude bro right-leaning podcasts like this that we need to be able to like contend with this shit? They've got a team in the background managing their fucking podcast, and they've got 4,000 subscribers. What the fuck is this? Maybe, well, oh, it's a radio show, so maybe it's just... Yeah, regardless, though, man, radio's been owned by the right for a long time. We're never getting radio, obviously, but we can win the internet. We can. We can. And I do think a big part of what needs to happen in the coming years is that, as a standard, women are not tolerant of conservatives or Trump voters. And that, like, there's just this massive wave of regret among men that they have fucked themselves in the dating world because they voted for Trump. Simple as that. Anyway, if you agreed with what I had to say here, if you think the 4B movement is based, by the way, I'm curious to see what you guys think of it. If, like, this is going to take off or peter out or really gain a lot of traction. I think women going VOLCEL against conservative men, or just men in general, is based, you know? Like, sure, do it. Refute, like, any men, frankly. Like, just to be sure. I think that would be reasonable too. It's up to you. You know, you're the guardian of your own genitalia. So yeah, no issue with this movement. If women want to just revoke consent to all men as protest to what has happened, then I think that is actually a poetic and absolutely appropriate response. Based women. Anyway, if you enjoyed the segment, leave a like, comment down below. It really helps the channel a lot if you do both. I don't know, maybe comment like, who up VOLCEL, I don't know. Just type VOLCEL gang if you watched all the way to this point in the video. It boosts the comments a ton, or boosts the video in the algorithm a ton if you comment that. As do likes as well, so I appreciate all of that. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already, so YouTube tells you when I go live or upload a new video in the future. And of course, please consider following my social medias, linked down below in the description, including joining my fan Discord, where just after stream in a little bit, I will be hosting a watch party of the new episode of From and some more Walking Dead. I host events, watch parties, or call-in streams every Friday, every week, so I hope you guys consider joining the Discord, as I am pretty frequently active in my community. And yeah, with that said, if you want to support me directly, financially, and you can afford it and you feel like it, then consider helping me keep the lights on and a roof above my head by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch to the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless of how you support the stream, thank you so much for watching, even if you're a lurker, and as always, have a good one.